And we are live once again. Welcome, everybody, to the Average J's podcast. I am Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois. Gotta say all smooth.
So, as you all know, and for whoever doesn't, we are the Average J's podcast where we review things that may have come up in the past week that you could have forgotten. So, covering everything in pop culture from TV, movies, video games, as well as a little bit of world news. So, starting off, we have a very, very heavy docket because returning listeners will know that we took last week off because stuff and things. So, yeah, that's it. Stuff and things. And then, so we're going to jump into a little bit of world news. But before we do that, as always, we are live here on twitch.tv/theaveragejays. And you can come check us out every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So, jumping right into the docket here. So, first piece of news. This one kind of, made waves all over the place. A train derailment in the city of East Palestine, Ohio, happened back on February 3rd. And I know it's been about 3 weeks now, but we're bringing this back up because it's still there. Not only
Yeah, it's gonna continue.
Yeah, not only has
But
it
one thing,
not been cleaned up yet, um, there's a lot of chemicals leaking both in the air as well as into rivers. So like actual drinking water, obviously it goes through like treatment plants and stuff like that, but it is contaminating ecosystems throughout that Ohio town. So it's a huge deal because it is still there. The company has not cleaned up anything yet, and it actually just came out that EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is pushing for them to clean it up, and the company is called Northern Suffolk. So that company, one of their industrial trains, not only derailed but exploded. There was fire, black smoke going into the air. Again, pollution going into water sources. So this is a huge deal for the town because it's a small town, number one, and number two, this is a active pollution issue, and
yeah,
not only that, it's caused by an industrial accident, and the company still has not done anything to make it right. It's really
yeah,
sad to be seeing in this day and age, like companies like this kind of dragging their feet on such a huge issue.
yeah. It is sad. Again, this happened a while ago, so this gives us a chance to kind of like unpack it. One of the first things I thought of was again, COVID lockdown was bittersweet for many, but I try to see like the good side of things. While we were on lockdown, I personally, in my own thoughts, I was like, oh, Earth is healing itself because we're not moving around and causing this pollution. And going forward, I thought we were making little waves rather in the right direction when it comes to doing less pollution. Not saying this was caused on purpose. Seeing this derailment, seeing the smoke, seeing random images from the air. I'm not 100% sure if they were real, but I'm sure if planes were flying over, they were seeing this large plume of smoke.
Yeah,
It saddens me because then now it's like we're just regressing, and this thing will affect the planet. There's no way this is just a one-time thing. 2, 3 years down the line, it's still going to continue. I do feel bad for the people there, and then I read a quick thing on the Mississippi River. If that pollution will affect the river,
mm,
because even though it's the largest river in the country, it's like would it be enough to dilute it? But it's like it's not, and that's scary to me. And you know what's crazy? I was talking to my friends about it like a couple of days ago, and as a New Yorker, it's like people's like, oh yeah, Ohio's over there, and like Carajo land. Like no, but it's right there. It's in Ohio's bordering Pennsylvania, so that's a
yeah,
state between us. So not saying I'm sure we'll get affected somehow. Weather,
yeah,
what's that term called? Acid rain. Like that's gonna happen. And a scary thing I saw this morning. half the country is half hot, half cold. So that
Yeah.
is very weird. I've never seen that. It looked like some anime thing, just like no pun and no, not trying to be funny, but if for those One Piece fans, half the island, if you know what scene I'm talking about, is covered in fire, and the other island is covered in ice, and that's what I thought of, and I'm like, that's something you see in fiction. The plume is something you see in fiction, but to see it be real, and that's scary to me. I hope it's something that gets resolved, not resolved, but there's actions taking a lot quicker than dragging their feet, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Because
it
from what I
something
read,
needs to get something needs to happen. They need to fix it. They need to clean up. They need to do something
came
pretty
that fast.
massive. Because
Yeah,
although like you said, it was, it was a mistake. It wasn't anything like malicious by any means. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen and it's not affecting people. So this
yeah,
company really needs to do their best and take responsibility and really start this cleanup heavy and make sure that these citizens are taken care of.
100%. It can affect everything, wildlife, people. I hope this is not the type of, when it comes to media, and they've done it for many disasters over the years. That's how it's always been. When the cameras are off, no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like nothing happened. I hope this is something we discuss
I mean,
up
this is in the
until
same vein
like,
as like Flint, Michigan, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It, it no one's talking about it. Like
Yeah. The water's
it's
still messed
crazy.
up over there.
Uh, Again, I always talk about. I keep saying I'll put in the links. I always think about it, and then things come up. But definitely check out Breaking Points on YouTube, because they will continue talking about real stuff and doing their best to hold the media accountable, even though they're media themselves.
Yeah.
But for people, we don't want to linger on this for too long. Donate, do your best to, you know, protect the planet. Don't let, like, any little thing helps. Even
Absolutely.
though they say anything doesn't help, everything helps. I try my best at home to just keep things separated when it comes to like plastics and all those things.
Yeah. Everything
Yeah,
helps from, like Jay said, from, doing your own recycling to even a like and a share of a news article just to kind of get it in front of people. Those things
yes,
don't cost any money. Talking about it, like bringing it to public knowledge does not cost any money whatsoever. And those things can go a long way. So, moving on, but staying within the realm of the undersea world, we are. This dropped, what, a week ago? So we got the latest teaser of Disney's Little Mermaid. It was a quick 1 minute teaser. They just showed like little glimpses of her under the water. They showed Prince
not the
Eric.
same one we saw before, right?
No.
Okay, so I didn't see it. Well, I did, and when I went to see Ant-Man, it played, and I on purpose averted my eyes because I was like, I don't want to see the trailer.
Oh, it's like
So you
it's
probably
not a
have more.
trailer. It's a teaser. It's a teaser trailer.
Well, I think for me, it's like I think I'm gonna start going. I don't want to see anything for anything that I'm actually interested.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you might have more to say because you saw this teaser, so I have
Yeah.
nothing to.
So I watched the teaser. I'm yeah. There's not a lot to like chew on with it. It is
It's
a
a great,
teaser trailer.
yeah.
We got glimpses of her swimming. We got her interacting with like a fish or two. We got a glimpse of Prince Eric. We got a glimpse of Ursula. She looks. We only got to see like the top half of her face, but she looks pretty
Okay.
film accurate. And then we got what you would call it. We got her. I already said that. We got her interacting with fish. The only thing that I found kind of weird, and
Mhm.
this might just be me nitpicking, um, the like the visual effects looked good, but something was off a little bit about the underwater effects. Like it seemed
Also, when yeah, so I want to actually ask you a question on that. When is the movie dropping?
in May, at the end of May, I
That's
think May 26th.
it's one of those things where you're not the first to say, not about this movie particularly, like the Flash trailer dropped,
Yeah,
right? A week or two ago. So a
for
friend of
Super
mine
Bowl.
said
Yeah,
the same thing. So it's like, when it comes to CGI, like we shouldn't be nitpicking CGI so early because it's like it's one of those things that's not polished
Yeah,
until that time comes. So I get what you're saying because what was something else was out or it was a video game. It's one of those things where it's just gonna take time unless you still see the same exact thing in May. Then it's like that's when you make that.
exactly. And that's the thing. There is still time for them to do a second pass, right?
Yeah,
Most trailers are typically not the final cut of the movie until the movie actually is like coming out that month or something like that. So
yeah,
this could be like, gamma footage or whatever it is. Like maybe the very last one before the final pass. So that I don't think it's the hugest deal. Even if this ends up being the final product, it's not gonna like, at least in the little bit that I saw, I don't think it's gonna mess up the movie for me. But I
yeah.
am kind of holding it to, like, we got Avatar: Way of the Water, and we
But
got
you know what it is, and I literally was gonna bring that up too because I remember, and again with his ego, James Cameron was
we'll
like,
get to that.
I spent years studying water. Like he was just like he was on like what's his name? Wow, the inventor of the CEO of Apple.
Steve
I was
Jobs.
gonna say not Tim Apple. Yes, I say that joking. I know his name is Tim Cook, but yes, Steve Jobs. He's just like I studied the way of water. No pun intended, but he's like I studied it, and I know how water moves. Like he like goes for he attacks well not attacks,
Is
but I'm gonna use the word attack. He attacks like Aquaman, anything when it comes to water. I thought like for example, one of my favorite like it's an animated movie, Moana. I love the way the water moved in Moana.
Yes.
Even though it's not supposed to be like live action. But then again, just you saying this, probably I should just check out the teaser. I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna check out the trailer just to like see what you're trying to say or
Yeah, give
trying
it
to
a
get
look. You'll
through.
see it in the first like 10 seconds. So, because we got something like Avatar, right? And because we got
Just here.
yeah, and because we got Black Panther 2, like all those movies were based in the water,
Yeah,
massive
he still
parts
even
of it.
talked smack about that too. He was like, "Ooh, their water was over." I was
And
like,
their water, both of those movies, the water scenes were like you couldn't tell. Like it
"Well,
looked
James
real.
Cameron would disagree."
So So with that, I think Disney kind of is like at a disadvantage where like it's not this isn't the biggest deal, but like seeing these things within the past year, it does raise the bar.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
sticking with the House of Mouse, but going on to something just a little bit weirder, Zach Galifianakis, you remember him, the guy from Hangover, and
Yes, that
obviously
guy.
Between Two Ferns,
Between two
everyone's
ferns.
favorite meme generator.
Classic.
Um, Zach Galifianakis will be in a live action role in Lilo and Stitch.
Yo, you
Upcoming.
misspelled it so much. I thought in our docket, Justin has the title, and I was like, "That's a new movie," but then I got it. But that's dope. A live action version. I'm curious.
So it's so this was like announced forever ago. It was one of those things
Like
like
like D23 or
it,
something
it
like
was
that.
like, oh, this is gonna happen. It was put on the slate and never talked about again. I'm sure it was probably during the same time they said that they were gonna do like the live action Little Mermaid and all that. Um,
Mm.
but they never spoke about it. Um, and then this is like the first big, I guess, news. They haven't revealed what the role is actually going to be. They're still, like Disney themselves, are still looking for actors to play Lilo and Nani. Um, so we have no idea really what this means, but the only thing that comes to mind is like if he plays, I think he would be a really good Pleakley. Like I don't think he could
That's
really play any other character in that movie.
remind me of who that was again. Is that
So
the big
Pleakley's the
alien?
skinny alien with the big alien that's like
No,
hunting
no.
Stitch.
But Zach playing the skinny alien or the big
Yes,
alien?
the skinny alien.
Really?
Yeah, I think he could do a good job with that.
I haven't watched that movie in a while, and it's such a good movie. I have to watch it again.
I watch that movie probably like every 6 months.
I feel like you do watch it often because
Yeah,
you there are random times you mention it, and I was like, oh, you probably just watched it.
yeah, I absolutely love that movie. But yeah, so that's a thing. So keep an eye out for everyone's favorite hangover comedian to be announced in
You know,
what
you know,
capacity.
and they're gonna just be like, they're gonna see this trailer finally one day or a teaser drop. They're like, oh, Lilo's not dark enough, or it's too something. I'm like, she's a child. Let
They're
it
gonna,
go.
yeah. I mean, it. Every remake goes through that, unfortunately. But every remake goes through it.
Unfortunately,
Everyone's gonna have an issue.
Simba wasn't black enough. I guess you know.
I mean, how much? It's, okay. Moving on from that.
This is upsetting. I don't even want to talk about this. Go ahead.
Yes, but moving on for that. Sticking with some movie news here. Joker 2 we got our very first glimpse of Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, and
Actually, I'm
the
not.
return of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And so we already heard the news. You know, this broke a while back. Joker will be getting, Todd Phillips' Joker will be getting a sequel. It's called Joker.
Folia do.
There it is, Folia do. We're definitely butchering that pronunciation, but that's a thing. And in honor of Valentine's Day, he Instagram did out a photo of Lady
Was it him or
Gaga.
Todd Phillips?
It was Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips.
Oh, I thought you said Joaquin. Sorry.
Oh no, it was Todd. Sorry. So yeah, Todd Phillips Instagram did out a photo of them two, Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, kind of pushed up against a wall. It looks like, Harley Quinn's original thing is she's Harleen Quinzel. She's a psychiatrist assigned to Arkham Asylum. She ends up getting the Joker case. As she treats him, falls in love with him, and then becomes his sidekick. It looks like they're going to be following that same type of deal. The only thing we have is this picture. He has the Joker makeup on, which is like, why would they let him have that on in prison? And then it looks like they're actually pushed up against like a concrete wall, very prison-like
Like
structure.
but like they're gonna make out.
Yeah,
That's what it looks
like
like.
she's holding on to his face, like either they just finished making out or they're about to. Yeah, it's an
You gotta
embrace.
do it for the brand.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this. I think it's really fun that they're kind of going with that it's going to be like a musical and all that. I like to see those kinds of risks, and I feel like this is like something that could pay off. I want to see this tragic romance between Harley Quinn and Joker. I think Lady Gaga is a great grab for Harley Quinn. Yeah, I think all around this is going to be fantastic. But go check it out. You can see it. She has a very intense. She acts a lot with her face. And you can see it, like the intensity in her eyes, like as she's looking at the Joker. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially from A Star Is Born, which is a great movie.
Yes.
With Bradley Cooper. That she does act the heck out of that.
You mean Rocket
Um,
Raccoon? But yes.
yes, Rocket Raccoon does a good job there too. But no, I kind of like misspoke when I said I hated it because I'm talking about a different movie. But some people didn't care for Joker because, like, a couple of my friends, or one of my friends rather, he's very like, oh, this can happen without this person. But
Mm,
it's like you're just too stuck in the ways of where it's like you're too rigid. Like you got to accept that. Like some people want to just see a side story. Like for
yeah.
example, Sean Murphy, the artist who is currently writing the Elseworld Batman, which is called Batman White Knight, which the one shot originally before it became a normal thing was Batman is kind of flips where Joker decides to like heal himself. Like it's like the ultimate play. He cures himself of the craziness or
Hmm.
his mental state or whatever, and he becomes the mayor of Gotham. And Batman is
Yeah. I
actually
remember this.
like it's such a good story. I didn't continue that story after the one shot because it then just became a thing. But stuff like that, we have to take risks. We're never going to see stuff like that. Definitely is not Batman. I think they're just kind of, again, personal opinion. I think trying to figure out the new Joker ever since Heath Ledger is like still on. I guess they're still trying to find that magic or thunder, the lightning in the bottle kind of a thing. Um, Even with the Batman in the deleted scene, they really were trying to go horrific with it. I
Hmm.
think they still have room because we have technically, people that aren't aware of the deleted scene still haven't met that Joker. So we have room to grow with that. This with a sequel for Joker, I'm a big fan of the animated series of Harley Quinn and Joker.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about this, and I don't want to say I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I can do without. But if it can work for this, I'm interested.
I think
So
this is a good risk. Like I said before, I'm happy to see
this is
the
a risk that Hollywood should be taking,
yes,
and if
exactly.
it doesn't do well, it doesn't do well, and if
Exactly.
it does, it does. That means
Like
risks are
people,
good.
it's like a calculated risk because people will go to see it because it's a DC movie, because the first Joker did so well. Like it's gonna bring people in regardless. So if it pays off, it's only gonna open doors for other people to take these kinds of risks.
Yeah.
But moving on to a risk that probably shouldn't have been taken, I Am Legend 2. Yes, I Am Legend 2, we spoke about it quite some time ago. It's still happening. It's still starring Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. And guess what? It's going to take place several decades after the original 2007 movie. So, not only is this going to take place, 2, 3 decades later, you heard me right. Will Smith is going to be in it. And it's going to be based off of the alternative ending that most people probably never saw because it was only on like the
Exactly.
DVD special features or whatever. It's based off of the alternate ending where Will Smith actually gets away from the infected and is able to keep living. Now,
Ooh, correction. They're not infected. I learned this the other day by just
what
seeing a
are they?
nice theory video. They're vampires. If you think about it, they are. They don't come out during the day, and they do function. They function. They don't function like zombies. They're not
Yeah,
like
but they're
monsters.
infected with an illness.
They're infected, but they wouldn't be considered zombies or any other like type of they are vampires per se. They just don't say it in verbally. But that's kind of like a did you know kind of a thing. But yes,
Hmm.
infected is correct. But I just wanted to throw that out there as kind of like a little bonus thing. If you ever get the chance to watch it again, just pay attention to the way they behave. We know they have some sort of cognitive,
Well, yeah, they
like
definitely have like mental abilities. They're able to think and solve problems.
yeah. But but continuing on with this horrible decision that WB is deciding to do.
So, in a conversation with Deadline, producer and screenwriter Akiva Goldsman shared new details. And I'm going to read some quotes off of here, and I feel like it was a weird thing to say. So, this will start a few decades later than the first. I'm obsessed with The Last of Us, where we see the world just post apocalypse,
Apocalyptic.
but also after 20, 30 year lapse. You see how Earth reclaims the world, and there's something beautiful in the question of as man steps away from being the primary tenant, what happens. So the reason why I say that this is kind of a weird quote because I didn't say this wrong. It literally says just post apocalypse, but also after. Like weird grammar, number one, and then number two.
Yes.
The reason I say this is weird is because saying you're obsessed with another property that's going on right now is a little weird. I don't like those things. I don't like
It's
when
not weird. It's very greedy. It's what the old suits of DC was like. Oh, look at what's Marvel doing. I like that.
like
And you know what happened. You know the history from there. So doing the same thing with this, honestly, I hate that I have to say this. I would rather have a reboot. I'd rather have a reboot.
I mean, yeah, at this point for sure. I'd
Rather
much
have a
rather
reboot
have a reboot.
because you know what is I Am Legend doesn't need a sequel number. It was such a beautiful title. It beautiful story, alternate and original. We didn't need it. We didn't need it. Give me a world that takes place in I Am Legend. Cool. Maybe give me a spin-off of that because it doesn't hurt the original story. But to say I Am Legend 2, and as you said before, no one saw, not no one, many did not see the alternate ending. I have nothing to say. But yes, I agree. The fact that you're saying you like another property, it's not going to work. Or it's not that it's not going to work. It's greedy. It's just greedy. You're just like, let's capitalize in this post. I love post-apocalyptic. I love post-nuclear. I not in real life. I don't want that to happen. But storytelling, I love post-nuclear. I'm not a big fan of zombie post-apocalyptic because I feel like it's trite. I
Yeah.
like just figuring out the characters. I like the human discovery or human condition in a world like this. One thing I was a big fan of, didn't get a lot of hype, Book of Eli. That was a good one, in my personal opinion.
Love
That
Book of
Yusei,
Eli.
one of my favorite, to perfection, in my opinion as well. But I think everyone can agree to perfection. Post nuclear, The Road, written by Cormac McCarthy, which was then adapted into a movie. Viggo Mortensen played the lead, and I forget the little kid's name. He was Nightcrawler in the one of the X Men. So he was a little kid. He played the boy. Perfect movie when it comes to adapting post-apocalyptic storytelling. And there was no creatures or infected whatsoever. The villains were humans, which
Yeah.
in when it comes to those types of stories, is the cause of those nuclear or post-world life. Um, and that's where Last of Us does well. They don't focus on the infected. Not to get too into the spoiler of it and not to diverge, in the last episode, there's literally no infected whatsoever. And that's a good storytelling. You don't need Walking Dead zombies to tell me a good story, you know?
Yeah.
So I Am Legend 2 is going to rely heavily on this.
Yeah. It's. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still. I don't know. I
And
just think
from the
that this shouldn't
quote,
have happened. I think it should have been a reboot, like you said. And yeah, for them, kind of, it seems from that quote to me that they're almost
mhm,
salivating at the mouth, right? Like they're just hungry
you
for it
said it
because they see
correctly.
that something else is going. So they're like, okay, and maybe that wasn't, because these things take time and like, you know. Michael B. Jordan signed on to this movie way before Last of Us even came out, but looking at something like The Last of Us video game or something like that, and then, you who's to say where influences really come from, but now
It's
it
true.
kind of
And
seems
and
like
that is
their
the
foot is on
fear.
the gas, and it's like, oh, seeing this, like I was so obsessed with it. I thought it was such a cool thing to do. It's a cool thing to do because they made it cool for that story.
Hmm.
It's not a like one size fits all thing. That doesn't mean that
It
your
shouldn't
story
be
is going
a
to be
pattern.
cool because
Yeah.
you're using the same elements.
I agree, and it is a fear, and not to dive into my own artistic journey. Like I remember, I had this cool idea. It's not the same, you've read some of it, but when I look at Horizon Zero Dawn, that is the kind of world I wanted to build in one of my stories.
Yeah.
Um, but then if I go and write it, there is going to be some influence where I'm going to have to like subconsciously is going to spill into it, but then I have to
Hmm.
remember to rein it in. I'm like, I can't use that because this already exists. Not saying it's plagiarizing, but it's just like people are going to recognize it, and then they're just probably going to fall off. They're like, oh, then the initial uh, uh, thing that pops in a reader or watcher's mind is like, oh, this is like the Verizon Horizon.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like you said, it they might not have taken influence whatsoever from the Last of Us show. Maybe from the game, they're like, "Oh, this is really good." And
Hmm.
when the show is taking this part, they're like, "Oh no!" Again, like you said, they're putting their foot on the gas. They're like, "We need to get this out there before they say that we're copying it." Now, from going back to what you're saying from the quote, I did like this, but not for under the title of I Am Legend 2. The predator aspect where the humans are not
Yeah.
top of the food chain. Like that idea. Like that nugget right there could work. Um
I
if
mean,
it
but
wasn't
that's the
under
same
attack.
thing as like Last of Us, right? Like man has kind of stepped down, not completely
No, no,
because
no.
man is still a thing, but like they cannot compete. They are no longer like the apex. You know, man is really flushed into these
but
areas where they are, you know, forced to being in hiding or forced to having certain things where they can overcome this other threat, but this threat will
you're
overcome them at some point.
yeah, you're not wrong on with The Last of Us though. When it comes to the storytelling aspect, that is not the focus. I would like to see the
True, true.
focus. Not even like Walking Dead. Walking Dead was like a mishmash of that.
Yeah.
But if you're like kind of like and I'm assuming in the next Rise of not Rise, King is this next movie is called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's a mouthful. But I think that story takes place a little bit further into the franchise when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to timeline, and it's going to be where the apes and the monkeys are, or rather not monkeys, the apes are going to be the new apex.
Yeah.
Because from people that know that franchise, they know that ultimately becomes a thing. So what in that quote, that nugget is the focus is that we're being hunted. If in I Am Legend 2, that is the focus, that the humans are being hunted and they're no longer like, I don't think I've ever seen that before, that they're being hunted. Because these
It would just be
infected or
weird
vampires,
because for me, like, think about it. They save the kid, right, in the first one because the kid
yes,
it's the Ellie thing, right? The kid has the cure inside of them. Um, they get the kid to the hospital, like not to the hospital, but to the colony,
to a new colony, yeah.
and if this takes place 20 to 30 years later, have they developed a cure? What is Will Smith doing? If like, why wouldn't he go? Because he kind of fell in love with the woman that he was.
Wait,
Why wouldn't he
did
go
he?
see them in the colony?
Wait,
Did,
question. Did Was he like, was he immune? Because I thought he
he
did.
was immune.
Like Will Smith, I thought Will Smith discovered the cure and then turned him back. Oh no, wait, which one am I thinking of? I don't know. I'm confusing the alternate ending or with
The main one,
the
remember,
original,
he's like in the lab, and then the things
because
kill
he
him.
cured he
Well,
cured
he
him. Yeah,
explodes or whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
they effectively have that cure. So like, what happened to that? It's been 20 or 30 years. Like, wouldn't there have been like some serious strides that happened? You know, like
And you're not wrong on that. So then that's where I said the idea of being hunted works in another movie, in another
yeah,
form of story. This franchise, I didn't want to see that. I would love to see the humans being hunted.
yeah.
That's all I want to see
I would have
for
loved.
the
I would have
franchise.
loved honestly like a series or something. Give me something a little lower budget, and show me the aftermath of the outbreak. Once the outbreak happened and like Will Smith is going on his own, if you're gonna tell me Michael B. Jordan plays a young Will Smith, younger Will Smith, exploring the wasteland and surviving, trying to find a cure, I would have been all up.
Also between the outbreak and the original movie.
Yes,
So that's the story you want to
yeah.
see.
If they would have told me it was gonna be that, and you know they're not
Then you
gonna
know what they could have
CGI,
called that?
they're not gonna
We just
de-age.
made we just made the movie. It would have been called Omega Man, which is the original
Oh
movie and
yeah,
book. That easy. Look, we just saved them billions of dollars.
and like that's the other.
But
It could have
no,
been a lower budget. It doesn't have to be like it. It would be a suspense thing, a thriller show, one season, maybe two. You find a story where like
they're
he's
chilling
with the
on HBO
dog.
Max.
He's figuring out how to survive on his own. Like that's it. Make it a scary thing. Make it low budget. And you could have had someone like Michael B. Jordan, or you could just have a no-name actor, somebody that maybe looks a little closer to Will Smith, and that's it. You
I
know.
would have had the no name.
But yeah, moving on to another reboot
Yes,
because
I'm
God
getting too
knows a
upset.
week does not go by with reboot news. It's insane. So
I think we should retitle our channel called The Average Days with the Reboot Podcast Show.
I guess that's
Let's
a
reboot our show.
mouthful. Yeah, we're just gonna reboot our show. So Hellboy is being rebooted yet again as
I just
Hellboy
learned this
the
recently.
Crooked Man. So the Crooked Man is a storyline, like in the original comic book Hellboy, and it's apparently one of it's touted as one of the best storylines in the Hellboy canon, I guess. So they're going to go ahead and do that one, you know?
Yeah,
So,
so just because a book does very well doesn't mean it's going to be, unless they do, they could slap me in the mouth and prove me wrong, but that doesn't mean. Think about it. The Dark Phoenix saga is touted as one of the greats back, classics. How many times did we try to do that movie? I feel like we did it like 3 times, and we still didn't do a good job. I lied twice, but still.
so Hellboy the Crooked Man, the comic book, was released in July 2008 alongside Hellboy 2 The Golden Army. So the second of the Ron Perlman movies. Um, what you call it? So it finds Hellboy teaming up with a rookie from the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense after they get stranded in 1950s rural Appalachia. There, they discover a small community haunted by witches, led by a local devil with a troubling connection to Hellboy's past, the Crooked Man. So, the Crooked Man is the one who leads all this stuff and apparently is connected to Hellboy in some way, shape, or form. I mean, this seems cool. It seems very comic booky. It seems like, it could work out. Plus, we also have that Hellboy game coming out at some point. And you remember the trailer came out this past Game Awards in 2022.
Yeah, I think
It was a cell shaded like it.
That.
Yeah, it was a cell shaded thing.
Well.
So it, I think it's a good time to do this. The other one did terrible with Hopper from.
And I think he was a good casting choice. I just didn't see the movie.
Yeah,
So
I think that was the problem. Most people didn't see the movie. Most people didn't see the movie. He was a decent casting for sure. And then the other thing is, apparently there was some.
It didn't do well financially.
It didn't do well financially. Supposedly there was like CGI issues, like it was poor, and the story wasn't executed correctly. So I mean, you figure like maybe it's not necessarily the actors, but like the writing and directing
100%.
team. So, yeah. But like I said, this new Hellboy reboot, it'll definitely kind of get boosted if the game comes out and does well. It is an adaptation of the comic book Hellboy. It has that cel-shaded comic booky looking aesthetic to the game. So it might do kind of like a Rolling Stone thing. So it might kind of knock over some dominoes for them. But yeah,
it's funny because like my artist friend Constantine, he's a big Hellboy fan. So we were talking the other day, and that's how I found out that there's another Hellboy reboot. I was like, another one? Well, not another. Well, technically, it is another one. But he's
it's
like,
the second reboot since the
second reboot. Yeah, since the last one, because the other one didn't do so hot. And the thing is, I didn't think the other one was gonna be bad, or I did not watch it because of the reviews. I just never got to it. But he was like, I only will watch a Hellboy movie if Ron Perlman comes back and Guillermo del Toro comes back. And that's like, del Toro's busy. He's just doing things.
Yeah, that's not going to happen ever again.
And it's like, and that's like my problem when it comes to Hollywood. Or, again, whoever's holding these titles, you can see that problem with Disney initially with the sequel trilogy. You just have too many cooks in the kitchen when there's no cohesive idea. If you had Guillermo del Toro said, like, I'm only doing these 2 movies, but here's a slate, follow this, I think that would have worked. It's not his to say to do that, but I feel like Hollywood is taking too long to figure out that cohesiveness.
Yeah, you got to have a through line from the beginning. We saw it with the latest Star Wars trilogy. J.J. Abrams literally put this on a silver platter in front of us.
And just left.
And then, just left. And they thought, Disney proper thought 3 different directors with 3 different stories would mesh correctly. No. So, yeah, I mean,
they should have.
We see it all the time in Hollywood. They need to stop with that.
If Dave Filoni, if they went into the desert and found Dave Filoni and were just like, Simba him on top of Pride Mountain, just been like, oh no, he needs to bring him on. Let him connect he's baby Lucas. But he's correcting stuff, so
he is, which is it's good. But
no complaints here.
Moving on from here, we did touch on him a little bit before, but James Cameron back in the highlights this week. Avatar: The Way of Water has passed Titanic and is now the third highest grossing film of all time. So this was as of February 19th.
That's 2 days ago.
Yeah. The movie is still in theaters. I went to go see Ant-Man the other day. It's still there. The run is really long. But
Just
they've
milking it
officially
dry.
crossed 2.243 billion.
And I heard that I didn't know Titanic was still out. I thought that was like they re-released Titanic.
I didn't
Like
even
my
know
cousin
that.
told me. Yeah, my cousin was like, "Yeah, I saw Titanic like a couple weeks." I was like, "Wait, what? That was out? I thought it was a summer thing."
I didn't even know that it came out again.
Yeah. So those numbers, it's just going into his pocket.
Yeah,
Oh, that ego. That ego's
that
just
ego's
he's
big. I read
he's
it. I read
slowing
it.
down. He's slowing down the Earth's rotation right now
Yep.
because of how big it is.
I read a quick snippet. I didn't even want to go into it because I didn't want to hear his reasoning. But he said that James Cameron himself said that he understood and relates to Thanos. Like he is the one man that like could get something done. He has that ability like to bear that cross for us. So I didn't even want to read
I
more about it. Once I saw that, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And the thing that sucks, it sucks so much, is like we can't even get that mad at him because when he said it was gonna be the third highest grossing movie, he wasn't wrong. It's just literally how he's going about these things. Like, damn man, like it's rough.
You
It
know
is
what it
rough.
is? I think, and look, and I'm not bad mouthing him. I just think his approach is horrible. I
Hmm.
remember this man being humble as heck, and then
Yep.
I think my thing is he's just trying to shut down the haters. But I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a lot of haters, or is it just because there's a lot of doubt? I think there's a
And
lot
that's
of
the
haters,
thing.
a
I
lot
think
of
there's a
doubt.
lot of doubt. Not necessarily like hating on him. It's just doubt.
Because I think it's gonna evolve to hating on his attitude and not his movies. Because anyone, again, we Josh Whedon is a horrible person, but he did a great Avengers movie. You know that he brought us that. So
Yeah.
you can hate the man, love the art,
Yeah, you have to learn
and
what
that's
it's separate the art from the artist, right?
yeah. So
So moving on from here, we're gonna leave all of that other stuff behind and kind of dip into the MCU for a moment. Like I mentioned before, Ant-Man did come out. Me and Jay saw it. At some point, we'll do a full spoiler cast, hopefully this week. But we'll kind of see where that goes. But just wanted to give some first impressions really quickly.
I feel
So
like
I'll take
we
it.
talked about
I'll take it, and Jay, you can chime in.
yeah
Let's kind of try to keep it like short and sweet here, so we don't ruin anything.
3 hours later.
I have feelings about this movie. I think the best way to go into this movie is with no expectations, because then things will surprise you in a good way. There are some things where that hero movie fatigue, in my opinion, does really settle in here, and it's like, okay, this movie structure is really getting old at this point. And for me personally, this is the first time I really felt like the MCU movie structure, like I guess getting stale, because I was in there and I was like, this is the. I felt like this was an opportunity to do something really big, and I think that MCU just played it
They're
safe.
playing it safe.
Yeah. So for me, I don't want to give any ratings right now, just because, like I said, we'll try and do a spoiler cast at some point. But I don't know, man. I was hoping that this one was gonna be like more of a contender for me, but I feel like it
Yeah.
fell a little short.
And this is why I don't watch trailers, and
Hmm.
then I just don't. I I I don't want to say I take anything. I don't take anything with a grain of salt. I just don't care for what other medium outlets has to say. Media outlets, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for example, I remember seeing like oh, this is as big as Avengers, blah blah blah, like in that kind of scale. And I was just like,
It's not.
not, and this is before going into the movies. I'm just like, I don't believe it. 'Cause if it was, I feel like we would have heard more about it. And this is when the media, when it comes to the media, and when I say media, I mean like news outlets, journalism outlets. I'm sure they're paid by the Hollywood
Well, yeah.
studios, because it's like, you know, examples like when comic books come out, IGN is going to tout these books with great reviews, and when someone else reads it, like it's not that great. Um, so first impressions, not going to really say give you a number as well. Thought it was good, not great. Like most movie, I will say this though, and you know, it's better than Love and Thunder, because we didn't even do a spoiler cast for Love and Thunder,
Yeah.
right? So, um, it was better than that. I would say it's predictable. I don't want to say I'm giving away a lot, but I really love Kang. The only reason I was like I'm gonna see this movie was for Jonathan Majors, because I'm a big fan of his ever
Hmm.
since the Five Bloods. Um,
He did great in it, also.
he did great in it. He was menacing. Like there's a specific, I when he first comes on screen, it's like I remember sitting in the movie and I was like, let's get to him. That's who I want to see. The movie does hit the ground running. Like it does have an
Yes, it
Infinity War
does.
start where it's just like it just goes. And I think that's why they said like Avengers level, but it's not Avengers level. To me, Avengers level is Civil War, because to me,
Yes.
Avengers type level is an ensemble piece, like Guardians or Guardians. Well, Guardians one, not two. Um, Definitely go see it. If you saw Loki, go see this. Um, and I learned somewhat recently this is the start of a new phase, which again kind of does a lackluster job
Yeah.
capping it. Supposedly the cap was Doctor Strange, but that's such a weird cap. Personal opinion.
It definitely would have done, I think, better overall. And we spoke about this before. If this was
Mhm.
the end of a phase.
Yeah, we off the record, me and Justin did say, yeah, if this was touted as this is the end of the phase, then yes, I would have been like, okay, understood. Not Avengers level, because again, a phase usually ends in a big uh, Avengers event.
Yeah.
Um, but then I guess that is their little change within the cog of the MCU machine. But
Hmm.
we've had ideas, but we will share that in our full spoiler review. I'm trying to think of anything. It was good. I think it was just predictable. Kang was the
Yeah.
best.
Very
I'll
predictable.
say this though. When it comes to intimate fighting, camera work, especially coming from Kang and other characters, I think it brought me back to Winter Soldier. And when I don't mean movie, I mean just when it comes to choreography and
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah. The fight choreography was phenomenal. I mean, the CGI was also incredibly good. Like, very,
Yeah, for what
very
it was,
well
it does
done.
work.
Yeah.
Like it does work. Like the whole movie is in the CGI. It,
Yeah.
unless we literally did go into the
Yeah. Like,
quantum realm,
literally
which we downsized.
100% of the movie is CGI, and they do such a good job with making you forget about that. Like, the world building was fantastic. I can't, take that away from that. The world building was cool. Some of the little side characters were fun. I enjoyed
Yeah,
Modoc for the most part. There were certain things where I was like, eh. I really like Modoc as a character. And in
I
the
know you
spoiler
like him too.
cast, we'll
Yeah,
go
in
deeper.
the show. Yeah, the Hulu show.
Yeah, I love the Hulu show. That I thought that was so good. Um, like I said, we'll go a little deeper into it in the spoiler review, but like I wasn't a huge fan of everything that they did, but I did like him. Um, yeah, I think we could just cap it at that. It was good, but not great, and we will follow up with something a little more detailed. But definitely a C. Like, go watch it. Go to the theater, watch it. Like,
As you said, I'm not gonna grade it. Graded it.
I didn't grade it. Like, I didn't give it an out of 10.
I guess.
Whatever. Anyway, uh, sticking with the MCU for a moment, there has been a lot of rumors flying around that in Kang Dynasty, the next big movie in Marvel, Spider Man more specifically, Tom Holland Spider-Man will be returning to lead in that movie. So it'll be not necessarily a Spider-Man movie, but he would be taking a leading role in it. Um, as I
They
guess,
would have to group again.
well, yeah, it would be a group for sure, but he would be the
No,
main
no, I
one it
mean group them.
follows.
Like for example, like Iron Man was like the lead of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to? Is that what the rumors are, or
The
when
rumor
they say
is that he
lead?
will be the lead in the movie, The Kang Dynasty.
I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather it be Strange, because in personal opinion, he's the adult and the only one to have that connection. Like Spider-Man should definitely take a high seat in the Avengers table, but not lead it. And this again, you're saying it's a rumor, so
But
it's
and
not
this
being
is the
official.
thing, he it's not saying that he's gonna lead the Avengers team. It's saying that
No, no, not like that.
he will be the lead in the movie. So maybe it'll be not necessarily from his perspective, but we'll be following him more so than any other hero that is going to be in the Kang Dynasty. And we'll kind of see how it kind of takes form. This is a rumor. A couple days ago, Kevin Feige did release some information in an interview saying that there is a story for Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. Again, all none of these things are set in stone, so we can't like we would have to
Be
take it
like
with a
this
grain of
is it.
salt, you know.
Yeah.
But when rumors like this of this gravity have come out, they've typically been true. So, or at least somewhat true, because I've been seeing it in a lot of like reputable places that I follow, and I mean, I wouldn't mind it because it reminds me of a comic book way to do it. You know, we're reading an issue of Spider-Man, and then he ends up going to team up with the Avengers to go take on this threat, or even something like what was that game called? Um, was it Ultimate Alliance? Right. So Ultimate
What is all?
Alliance is like the story of it. All the heroes join up to fight. I think Doctor Doom or something, but it's kind of told through the lens of Spider-Man. Like you're following Spider-Man first and foremost, but then you're
So
playing
is
as all
that
these
so that's how
heroes.
got it? Because I was trying to understand how you were seeing it, because I was seeing it as for in movie MCU purposes, kind of like Iron Man, where he is leading, not leading the Avengers, but leading the
No,
story.
from what I've been seeing, he will be
I,
the lead role of the movie, not necessarily leading the
uh,
team, leading the story or anything. You know, this is gonna be Kang Dynasty. From what we know, is gonna be obviously Kang coming back to mess
the
things
only
up.
reason I would be fine with that is because in the way Spider-Man 3 ended, and not to just like stay on this for a minute, but the way Spider-Man 3 ended, no one knows who he is anymore. He's just, again, even small spoiler alert. I'm going to say it, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. In Ant-Man, Spider-Man is mentioned by name. Like, not name, but like Spider-Man, like
Yeah,
that in the movie. So that means he still exists. But people don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Peter Parker is probably just still being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man,
yeah,
and I could only see that making sense because it's like, all right, I gotta go help these team. I've been out of the limelight for so long. I gotta go help them. I can see that, and I'm seeing it from his point of view because again, he doesn't know what's going on. There's so many things. His only knowledge of the Kang universe, and he is his from his last movie. There are multiple universes. He knows it's
yeah.
a real
That's it.
thing. So that I can see that being like told through that lens, but we'll see how it goes. Again, it's a rumor. I'm just happy that it's talked about that there is a possibility of four. I'm probably now more excited because we're gonna get like the OG feel of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Not saying I didn't care for the trilogy. I know a lot of old heads were not a fan of it because it's like, oh, he has a Iron Man daddy, blah blah blah. But it's like we've never seen that before. But
I
now we're gonna
loved
go
it.
back to the old ones. But okay, yeah, I'm with it.
So
I'm with it.
now jumping across the street here, going to the DC side of stuff. Um, PlayStation announced that the State of Play is back this week, and one of the prominent games being featured is Kill the Justice League. So Suicide Squad, the titular team is going after the Justice League in this next video game installment, and now we're gonna get more gameplay details. We're gonna see a full trailer, and for those that don't know, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is a Rocksteady developed game. Rocksteady behind the Arkham Asylum games, with the exclusion of Arkham Asylum Origins. No, Arkham Origins.
Yes.
So, not only will they be talking about that, but they'll also be touching on new PSVR 2 games. PSVR 2 came out not too long ago, and now, right? It already came out. And now they're going to be highlighting some games. And hopefully we get a release date, because I know it was delayed and we never got another release date after that.
I think the last big news about it was the leaked image of like online play, and then a lot of people are concerned because of Gotham Knights. Because when you do something like that, it kind of like brings down the quality of, I guess, the game.
Yeah.
Or a game. So I can see that being a concern. I'm wondering if it's like it is a single player game and then also a multiplayer game. But then it's like, how do you do a multiplayer game? You got these Suicide Squad characters. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, it seems like it's a little finite.
The only thing I could see, and this is kind of taking a step backwards in terms of games, I could see them doing like an OG like 4v4 team deathmatch.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, like you go into a lobby, there's 4 heroes, there's 4 villains, and you deck it out.
Yeah, it's kind of not like just Left 4 Dead, but like Orange Box. I forget what game. There was like a bunch of games in there. Team Fortress.
Team Fortress. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I guess I can see that. But
I don't know how many legs it would have, like.
Yeah.
But that's the only way I would see it working out, because beyond that, then you have like either a DC Universe Online thing, or you get like Marvel's The Avengers video game where like it's just a horde mode that you're playing. So I don't know how else that would work.
Well, at this point, I'm gonna take the stance on like I'm gonna wait till the product is out, and then make a informed decision there. Because at this point, we're just speculating, and but then that's what everyone is speculating, and that's freaking them out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna opt out in my fears.
So, leaving behind, finally, that's the end of all like TV and movie news. Leaving behind all of that, going into the digital world of video games. Well, I mean, no, I guess that last one was video games. But anyway, sticking with,
we did hop into.
We hopped in pretty heavy there. But as of today, I guess you call it breaking news. Microsoft and Nintendo have signed a 10-year agreement, and this is going to bring Xbox games to Nintendo consoles. So we're going to see Xbox, like Microsoft, Xbox first-party games coming to Nintendo Switch. One of them being Call of Duty. So...
I was like, I sat there and I was like, I don't care for Call of Duty. I thought you were going to say something else. But I'm like, oh.
No, one of them being Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty's we can't deny it's a pretty massive powerhouse. But
my thing it is, and I agree it's a powerhouse. But then for those, and there are many that have multiple consoles, it's like why would they care? And then I'm like, what is the incentive? Unless it's like I only own a Switch financially, I can't afford an Xbox. This is great news.
And I think it's because when you look at the gaming console landscape, the Switch isn't necessarily in competition with PlayStation and Xbox. They never have been. Over the past couple years, Xbox and Nintendo have been having great like relations. They've really kind of made that partnership public with a lot of things. Not only including like Minecraft and Steve joining Smash Brothers. The Nintendo collaboration with different properties. So, there's also been whatchamacallit, There's been rumors for about like 2, 3 years now that Games Pass would be coming to the Switch. Like there's always been a lot of things. I mean, like I said, their partnership has kind of been on display last couple of years, but now they've entered a 10-year agreement, or 10-year commitment, I should say, and it's going to be bringing Microsoft and Activision games to the Switch. So
I'd be high chief on Smash Bros.
The biggest thing is like Call of Duty. You need to remember it hasn't been put on a Switch in 10 years. The last Call of Duty game to hit a Switch was Call of Duty Ghosts in 2023. In 2013. Sorry. So.
So wait, when did the Switch come out? It's been that long.
It's been a while. It had to be like
college, right?
6 or 7 years.
College?
No, we weren't in college.
Oh, okay. So, 2015 and on.
I think it came out in 2017.
You're talking about like the Wii U.
Yeah, so the Wii U, it came out on the Wii U. Call of Duty Ghosts. That was the last one to hit Nintendo, and it was on the Wii U.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that was in 2013. So, and then on top of that, we could see some cool things. Like maybe we'll see cosmetic stuff, like I don't know, like a Zelda character in there, or like a Mario skin on something, and just fun video game stuff.
And that's what Nintendo's known for, to being like, it's still fun. Like you have a hardcore game, but then you slap a coat of Mario skins on like all the characters. Like let's say one team is Luigi and one is Mario. Like do that.
So and then you also have to remember the other, like, I guess selling point for this would be, I don't know, console play on the go, because I know with the rise of mobile playing and like a remote play, that's been a huge thing with phones, but it's still streaming. It's not console based, like it's not like physical console based. So now you get to bring a console around a little easier, and it just happens to be Nintendo because there's no one else really competing in that area.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's some things that would go good here, and I could see the value in it.
Yeah. I can see that. Like, I'm not knocking it. I just feel like the only cool thing about this in the grand scheme of things is the crossplay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you can have these console warfare, like this is a big thing. Well, console wars, but you can still have this crossplay because there's no more bad mouthing each other. Like, Xbox is whack or PlayStation's whack. It's like, okay, come play me on Call of Duty, and then you guys just duke it out, and you still have the same thing.
Yep. So, next one, we're gonna be sticking with the big N. Nintendo has, well, I guess the Pokemon Company has confirmed that there will be a Pokemon Presents on February 27th. For those keeping track, that is next Thursday?
I believe next, you're right.
Yeah. So, a new Pokemon Direct is on its way and will air on February 27th at... What? Oh my gosh. 3 a.m. Eastern Time.
3 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, so then, we'll be sleeping by then.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific.
Monday? Who's going to be up at that time?
That's wild. That's so weird.
Wait, what time Pacific?
Pacific is 6 a.m. Pacific.
That makes sense, because if that's where it's coming from, it makes sense. We're not gonna be up.
But still, 6 a.m. for a Pokemon Presents, that seems kind of early.
Oh well, yeah, no, that is more. What's going on with these people?
So we don't know what's going to be coming. Obviously, Nintendo stays pretty hush hush on things until they actually are announced. But there are rumors that a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game are coming out. There is a patch that has already been announced for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to help with a lot of the gameplay bugs and glitches. A lot of glitches. I actually stopped playing the game because the story itself just wasn't kind of grabbing me like I thought it would be. But also there's a lot of technical issues with that game. So I'm sure they'll be touching on that. I'm sure we'll be getting our first look at like DLC for Scarlet and Violet. You know, with the Switch, ever since the new era of games, the last one being Sword and Shield, they come out with DLC for them. It's not like
Yeah.
an unheard of thing. New Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game would be kind of cool. I never played those when they were on like the DS and stuff, so it'd be
Me
fun
neither.
to get a Switch version. I'm sure we'll also get some like news on Pokemon Go because that thing is always continuing. But yeah, so keep your eyes open at 3 a.m. if you feel like it if you're on the East Coast. But if you're on the West Coast, you're okay. You just gotta wake up a little earlier, 6 a.m. for you guys. So with that, we have hit all of our topics, and we're gonna roll into the weekly wrap. So Jay, what have you been watching, reading, or playing?
Well, we've been watching The Last of Us. That's the thing. Saw Ant-Man. Talked about that for a second. I watched this movie with Gabby called Together with James McAvoy. I forget the actress's name, but basically it takes place in during lockdown.
Hmm.
Um, and you basically see the life of these two characters evolve throughout that time. And every time there's like a break, there's like a notification that says like, and this takes place in the UK, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like how many deaths and vaccinated, depending on where the story takes place, and how, and it shows the number, and it's just like seeing that specifically the UK,
Mm-hmm.
because I remember when basically almost a billion people across the planet died. I think it was like 700 million. Um, and then just seeing it from the UK alone, it's like wow, it kind of puts it in more perspective, especially
Yeah.
because it's such a small country. Um, it's wild to me. Yeah, it's James McAvoy and Sharon Horgan. It's just them talking. So like the way the movie works out, it opens up where they're talking into the camera, so they're talking to you, and it's kind of like not a mockumentary, but it looks like that, and they're just talking into the camera. There are
Mm-hmm.
moments where they're talking to each other, and it's like they forget that I guess us as the viewer are there, like talking to us. But it seems like every time they're doing their asides or their monologues, or not monologues, but their asides, it's like we're in their head.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when one time one of the characters walks into the room, or rather the woman, because they don't have names, it's she and he. So when she walks into the room, he kind of like stops his conversation and goes to talk to her. I like that type of, it's very experimental. I never really
I
seen
was
that
just gonna
before.
say that it sounds very experimental.
But then when it comes to the idea of COVID movies, like going forward, COVID is part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Um, it would never be in a Marvel movie because it's like the snap was technically COVID, if you could say that. But it's just weird, not weird, but it's surreal, I guess, to see COVID being discussed in this, especially in one of your like what do you call it? Grey's Anatomy. That's gonna be in there. It's Grey's
Yeah.
Anatomy. You gotta have to talk about COVID. What else have I been watching? Any anime? Of course, One Piece, because let's talk about that. Um, I was trying to rewatch Soul Eater, but I'm taking my time on that. I don't think I'm watching too much. Oh, I'm rewatching Vinland Saga, but that's taking a while too. Uh, reading, reading my own comic because I got a comic. I was about to say, just gonna throw that out there. Uh, for those watching live, if you're not watching, then you're probably missing out. But I'm dropping it tomorrow. Today is Tuesday, so it's releasing tomorrow. But all jokes aside, I haven't really been reading much as of late. Yeah, a lot of stuff I haven't been doing. I'm trying to think what the last thing I read. Did I read a comic recently? No. I'm slow on my rap. My rap is pretty small here. Yeah, and I don't tell me about the games. I haven't played anything. I think that's it. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty. Bad Batch is another thing I'm watching, but that's like it's weekly, so it's not like something I'm like,
Forgot. I gotta watch that. I haven't watched any of
oh,
it.
dude, there's 9 episodes out. Like you missed out on 9 episodes, and then I don't even want to tell you of this one thing because I something or someone or something, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but shows up on screen, I literally got up and was like, "Oh my god, yes,
I'm sure I could blast through it quickly.
you can." And then they're like 30 minutes about that time, so it's not bad. There's like one filler episode, but I'm sure it connects. It would connect to the High Republic, not High Republic. Yeah, yeah, High Republic. I'm sure it's gonna be connecting to that. Um, what else? Think that it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. So for me, watching, what have I been watching? So obviously been watching Last of Us. I just haven't seen this past Sunday's episode. Um,
Yeah.
I I've been watching My Hero Academia. I started over from the very beginning, catching all the way up. I'm on season 5 now. So I only have this. I have to finish this one, and I have one more season to go, and then I'll be caught up. Um, I forgot how emotional and inspirational that show is, and like, there's been times where I've literally been like tearing up at different scenes. Like I can't even describe it. Like the first 2 seasons, I think every single episode is beautiful. Then after that, third season is just bananas. Fourth season was great. Fourth season, like the end of it was like a freaking gut punch, and it was just so emotional, so beautiful. And then yeah, then going into like season 5 now, I think I'm like halfway through season 5, but it's just a great ride, man. Like I can't say enough good things about it. Um,
Yeah.
it's one that, in my opinion, I truly don't think that there is. There's filler every like one episode a season maybe, and
Yeah,
then
it's mostly like recaps. They don't really
yeah,
do fillers because that's seasonal.
and then beyond that, it's just, I don't know. It's great. I love it. Like it just, I love every
Yeah.
minute of it. It has a really great pace and everything. And I think that's it with watching. And I went to go see Ant-Man this past weekend. I don't think I saw any other movies lately. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then with playing, I did get my hands on Hogwarts Legacy. It is a fantastic game, very immersive and very big. But I haven't played too much of it because my dear and loving wife has been taking it over from me. So
Is she there now?
yeah, yeah.
I had a
She
feeling.
came
I was
home
like,
yesterday and today. She came home from work. First thing she did, hop on. This was the same kind of thing that I saw. Well, she had Animal Crossing like over the summer, so she didn't do it too much. Like go to work and then come home for it. But
mm,
Animal Crossing in the summer, dude, 2 hours just fishing, just straight up fishing and exploring and walking around. And now she has another one. Hogwarts Legacy has really like got her. Yesterday I was with her downstairs. Like I brought my Switch down. I was playing my game at the same time, and she was going at it. She's loving it. She
was
was like,
couch potatoing it too. She was just
yeah, she
like,
was in the Forbidden Forest. She like found all these spiders. She got this cool armor. She's loving every minute of it, which is really cool to watch. Um, so I played that a little bit. At this point, she's gone past where I am. Um, and then I am also I got Power Washer Simulator from Square Enix. It's literally a game where you just power wash stuff.
yeah, I feel like I saw that and I just ignored it because it reminds me of like, what was it, the Goat Simulator or something like that?
So
That
it's
was
not
like,
the Goat Simulator is like really wacky. That's the whole thing behind it.
yeah,
Power Washer Simulator, that is it. You are a power washer. Like you clean.
because it's supposed to just make you feel good when you power wash through something. Like, it's
It's
just that satisfaction.
for me, it's extremely satisfying. You're I could play that game forever. It's one of those like it's brain off, just you're doing a task, and there's different there's different like powers of power washes that you can get. As you progress through your career, you get money, you can get more. There's attachments, there's different heads that you could use, there's like different soaps you could use for. It is insanely in depth. It's not like a graphical hard like a
Yeah.
powerhouse or anything, but it's great. The physics are fun. Like you are literally just there washing something. And like I've done stuff like a skate park, a mansion. They have different cars that you can power wash, and as you go, more unlock. They also have like a couple of different modes with like extra things that you could do. Then there's like a free mode where you could just clean crap for a long time, like a free play mode, I mean. And then they had a free DLC because it's through Square Enix. They have different stuff from different games. Free DLC dropped, and it's Tomb Raider, like Lara Croft's mansion, so you can clean her
Mhm.
mansion.
That's funny.
In one of the like teaser like promotional images that they did leading up to the release, it was Cloud's bike, like motorcycle, and
Oh,
he
nice.
had he had just like finished cleaning it off. Um, so it's fun. It's one of those games like it knows what it is. It's not any kind of difficult. It's a couch co-op game. You could play
Oh, nice.
in one of the modes. I think you could play up to like 6 people helping you out. Um, it's just a great like put on a YouTube video and play this game. Because the other thing is it has no music. It is literally like you were just there washing. Like you hear the water stream and all that, and that's it. You hear something
That's
knocks
fun.
over or whatever. It's just like that's all you're doing. You're just watching stuff. There's a couple like modifiers like aesthetically that you can do. You can get like a different color for your uniform, different colors for your guns, well, for your power washers. It's fun stuff like that, but it's just a head empty fun game to do. I also got the remastered version of Metroid Prime.
Yes,
Um,
I did hear about this.
yeah, so just a quick thing. Both I got both of them on the Switch. Uh, Power Washer was like 20 or 25, and then Prime was like 40. So if you're strapped for cash, those are two really good games that you can go and grab. Um, but yeah, man, Prime. I only started a little bit of it because I'm so engrossed with Power Washer. Um, Prime was it's
I feel like they're
fantastic.
gonna make a gardening, not even gardening, just like a water your front lawn simulator type thing, and that's all you would do because you would never leave your house, so you
There's
could
like
just.
farming simulators and stuff, man. There's like crazy
I
like,
know, yeah. There's so many. Like I can't even name them because they're that generic. Like it's
and
just power wash.
I've never really been into simulator games, like, but something called me to it because like I'll watch like YouTube, not YouTube videos, Instagram videos or TikToks of like guys cleaning the carpets. Like, have you ever seen like the
Mhm.
really dirty carpets?
Yeah, I've seen
And for
them.
whatever reason,
It is.
those like
Yeah,
hit me good. Like, I'll watch hours of that,
yeah.
and
It's funny you said the dude we follow, Only Kings in New York or something like
yeah,
that, made a little skit where his wife was just like, "Oh, can you help me?" And like she's like folding laundry. She's like, "I'm working," and then you see him watching that video. It's just cleaning from that, and I'm like, "Oh, that is mad satisfying." Like
it
just
is.
seeing it
It's
clean.
incredibly sad. I'll send you the account that I watch. I forgot what it is right now, but it's super satisfying, and I think because I've been into them recently, it just made this game catch my eye, and I'm in love with this game. This game is absolutely perfect in my eyes. Like, so yeah. Then I played a little bit of Metroid Prime. Looks fantastic. I never played the first two Primes. I only played Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii. So the first two kind of slipped by me, but it's fantastic. Completely remade from the ground up. It looks great. Controls
Yeah,
really
from
good.
what I've seen, it looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, and I mean, those the Prime games were fantastic then, and they hold up till now. And Marvel Snap. That's
Yeah.
just staying on my Snap stuff. Uh, but yeah,
Oh
that's
no.
I think. Oh, and I can't forget. I usually gloss over it, but this week I read something. I read a thing,
Yeah.
one solitary thing, and that one solitary thing is a little known comic by the name of Napoleon from the Machine, and it's the
Oh, I was
first
thinking of something else.
issue. What?
I was thinking of something else, but yes,
Oh
thank
no,
you.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
read that other thing yet. But
Oh my god. That's why I got excited.
nope, nope. I read Napoleon from the Machine by a up and coming comic book writer, a tragic genius, a
I
lonely
look at my
artist,
but
uh,
like
by the name of Jeremy Francois. A beautiful, beautiful introduction to this story. First issue is coming out tomorrow.
digitally, yes.
Yeah, digitally it drops tomorrow. Um, Keep an ear out for maybe some physical releases, but
Yes.
it was absolutely beautiful. Jay wrote that back in like 2017, and I was along for the ride the whole time. And read.
I don't know if you remember. You probably just remember you did read everything.
Yeah, I don't remember everything, like every detail. I remember
Yeah.
some stuff, but like reading this comic, like first off, the art is freaking phenomenal. It gives me such a like the people and like some of the gang members and stuff kind of screamed that like 80s Ninja Turtle, like kind of like that Neo Future thing, which was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And then on top of that, it kind of like layers in a little bit of like Watchmen style art.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I
Okay.
I was really like the art. I mean, that guy's fantastic, but the art was like really like bringing me in. It was very much like an 80s comic book, and it's so good. And then
I'm happy
set
that you say that.
setting the story up as it is. I remembered this, what it was gonna be and all that, and you've been sending me all these clips and stuff. But oh, man, it was so freaking good to like read it again and to read it all the way through, and to see
Let's
this
take
thing
it.
come to like fruition. And like I've been seeing these images for months at this point. And oh man, freaking I cannot like I can't describe enough like how cool it was to read it, because it was
Yeah.
so good. Like,
Yeah, when Justin like sent me a text and I didn't get to see it yet, but it was just him basically flailing in word form. And I was like, oh damn, okay.
like I always praise your stuff. I think your stuff is fantastic, but there's something about this one where it's really like it's such a unique thing, and the art really just like pairs so well with the story, and it's just like it's a treat. It's an actual treat to read it. Like, I cannot say enough good things. We will post when this goes live, when the actual podcast episode goes live, we'll make sure to put in the URLs to go check out the comic book. But yeah, everyone needs to read this, because this is a fantastic introduction to an awesome story. So that's why I read it.
Nah, I do appreciate that. I'm kind of want to be mad at you, but can't because I'm like, you should have read the antagonist. But I do appreciate the praise and love. Um, yeah, man, I do. I like that you said it feels like 80s because I when I listened to one of my favorite songs called Awakening, the instrumental version by Scandroid, it has this 80s feel. When you get the chance, just and listen to it.
Mm.
It is on Spotify as well if you have Spotify, because I know you don't have Apple Music, but it should be there. Um, I like anyone listening to this, you're probably the first. So I didn't want to be making comics and soundtrack all the time. So I kind of want to build it. So when everything is done, I could probably make a soundtrack for the entire book. And I know issue one would have that sound. And I hope to have someone specific work on it. I must hit them up and see if they'd be down because she's fire. But I'm not gonna shout it out because I don't want to jinx myself. But you know who I'm talking about. Final Space. I already said too much.
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about. No, that would be fantastic. But yeah, man, the art was just fantastic, and yeah, it really did give me that '80s neo future, like TMNT original cartoon mixed with like I said, Watchmen. It really did. And a heavy art style on the Watchmen. But yeah, so that was the literal only thing I read this week. So
I want to say, out of how many episodes did it take? You haven't read anything? This is episode 52, right? After a year, this is the only thing you read.
no, well, I mean, I guess maybe technically because even for Between Magic and Dreams, I still need to read volume 2. But I listened to the audiobook. I didn't read it.
So that's the second one. Well, technically yes, but you did read it. So there's only 2 things you've read.
Yeah.
The 52 episodes we've done.
Yes. This is the second thing.
That's funny. Yeah, I gotta keep texting you.
You have to. But anyway, with that, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Average Days podcast. You can always watch and be and interact with us on the show, twitch.tv/The Average Days. You can also hit us up on Twitter at The Average Days, or on Instagram, The Average Days podcast _ in between each word. And yeah, I think that's it. All right. Oh, and
Yeah.
after the show, we do J&J After Dark. It's an unfiltered, uncensored, like half hour, where we typically tackle a subject of our choosing and interact with some, whoever's in the chat over on twitch.tv/The Average Days. So with that, we're going to wrap this one up. Like I said, I am Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Drink your waters.